Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Dr. Charlene Smith has been helping women date successfully for more than 35 years through her innovative out-of-the-box strategies. Charlene also produces the Set It Off Senior Style Show, featuring her signature radiating approach to finding love, dating safely, and how to build loving, long-term, meaningful partnerships. And without further ado, Charlene, welcome to Dance to Heal.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's so great to have you here. And, audience, one of the exciting reasons why I wanted Charlene to come is because I was meeting quite a number of other patients like myself during my cancer journey who actually their partners couldn't take the stress of the medical treatment, and they kind of ended up getting divorced or separated. And they would start to embark on this new journey of trying to find someone else. And so, Charlene, could you just share with the audience a little bit of why you do what you do today?
Okay, well, I am a senior myself, and I've been single for a while. And in my book, I talk about I had 3 marriages and was a little bit depressed after the last one because he had promised we would grow old together, retire, so on and so forth. And then we didn't. And so I was pretty closed to thinking about dating or relationships. But then I attended a Tyler Perry show, a play in New York. And at the end, he came out and he said, "Don't ever give up on love." Oh. And he said, you may have been through a lot of experiences, but those are lessons. And those lessons are preparing you for your person. And as you're being prepared, that person is being prepared. And at some point, God is going to bring you together. And if you're not open for love, you're going to miss that opportunity. And I thought, wow. So I started working on myself, and I started talking with some of my girlfriends and other women that were my age and had been through some similar things. And they liked the perspective that I had. And I was like, oh, okay, well, even though I had those 3 bad marriages, I still kind of have a good perspective about relationships. And I was starting to heal. And I was like, well, maybe this is what I should be doing. And it's my passion. And I want to help seniors know that they can still live life in this chapter. And although we've probably lived a lot more than what we're going to live, we can live it to the best of our ability and have fun and have love. We're not too old for love. And I tell people, let's believe in the love conquers all. And I believe that. And I love being able to share how to heal and how to find that person for you, your soulmate.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then let's just clarify, right? Because you said seniors, and I have audience members who are younger than the Denny's 55 special pricing.
Right.
Charlene's joke, not mine, folks. I got to give credit where credit is due. So I'm 55 now. And do you work with clients younger than 55?
Yes, I do, because as you know, the healing process doesn't have an age limit on it. I found, though, that those that are around 60 and older have a little more fear. They had longer relationships. So it's been like 30, 40 years since they've dated. And so the dating is a lot different. Relationships are a lot different now. But a lot of the dynamics of getting out there are applicable. So if someone is 25, 30, they want to learn how to do some of this, they're more than welcome. And it works. And I have had clients that are younger than that. But again, we have our ideal target market. And mine is for seniors, and that's usually 55 to 60 to about 75 to 80
Yeah.
is where people are starting to get out and date again and want to enjoy life.
Okay, so I want to be clear. It doesn't matter what age you are. Charlene will work with you folks. Yeah.
Yes.
And just be understanding that the point of view will be from a little bit person older. Again, I'm ideal because I'm at 55 this year, so I could work with Charlene with no problem. So I have girlfriends who, and also actually guy friends too, who are a little bit younger than me and for whatever reasons are single again. So it is applicable because it is foreign to us. I mean, I've been with my husband, 35 years. And some of those, even before, I couldn't figure out the dating rules. I can't imagine what the dating rules are now. What are 3 things you would suggest for someone to do were they to actively start searching for their soulmate?
Okay, well, in my course, one of the things that we do is we do a lot of self-assessment. Regardless of what age we are, we can always learn more about ourselves. And so we do a lot of self-assessment, and we go through the process of breaking energetic bonds from the past relationships so that we open our hearts and be able to receive love. And the other thing is that we make a plan. And in that plan, we talk about safety tips for online dating and in person. We talk about writing a profile and all of that. But the key thing is becoming the partner you desire and understanding what the desires of your heart are. So, and then the plan. So those would be the 3 key things.
Okay, so real talk, Charlene, tell us, because that whole profile thing, because with my business, the Dance to Heal process, right? I have to make sure to get myself out there, similar to looking for your soulmate. No one can find you if you're hiding in your closet. And at the same time, that profile, right? Because they talk about being honest and then yet not too boring and then not too out there. Like what? Charlene's laughing, you all. Those are us on the podcast listening. She's hysterical right now. And it's true because I've gotten so many different advices about how to write your quote unquote profile, whether it's a bio for an introduction to a dance performance I'm about to do. I've had teachers who said, just make it up. No one cares. I literally have had people say that. And then, no, really, truly. And then I've also had people going, oh, don't write anything other than the absolute truth. And sometimes that's boring. I mean, honestly, Charlene, I have 12.5 cats right now. Nothing can beat an intro like that because I really do have 12.5 cats.
Wow.
0.5 is a very small cat, right? And at the same time, what if my soul partner is allergic to cats and we could have been ideal and they were turned off by the fact that I own cats?
Well, if they're your person, that won't be a problem. You'll communicate it. They'll put up with it. Maybe they'll go and get some medication so they won't have an allergic reaction. If your person is your person, they will find a way to work it out and communicate that because that is key communication. But as far as the profile, you do want to be authentic. You don't want to tell stories about who you are because if you do match with someone online, you want that to be the person that you desire and you want to be the person that they desire. And if you start out with a shaky foundation of not being who you are, it's not going to go anywhere. So we can flower up things a little bit and make it more exciting. I think one of the key things about writing a profile is that it's upbeat and it's positive.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's the key. And tell them who you are. I love to travel. For me personally, one of my goals was to touch every continent in the world, and I did. And so I put that in my profile. Yeah, I'm a traveler. So that tells someone, well, she's serious about traveling. So if someone's not interested in that, then, they're going to go on. But I love traveling, and that's what I put in my profile. I've touched every continent in the world. So that's how much of a traveler I am. And I love music, all kinds of music, but my preference is smooth jazz.
Hmm.
So, it's something like that. And then people will say, "Hey, okay, well, I like smooth jazz too. I like traveling. Let me check it out."
Oh, I love that. I mean, in real truth, though, again, because we're doing truth talk with Charlene evidently today. My husband, we joke about him being like the Eeyore of our forest, and I don't know how he would have spiced up his bio, Charlene. I'm lucky we met in college doing an orientation program together, right? So,
Huh?
um, they would have help from you. You would in the course, do they have assistance with you so they're
Yes.
not kind of floating around by their own? Because you think you did the assignment. Sometimes we kind of miss the mark a little bit on those online things.
Exactly. And I do work with them along with the safety tips because it's a little scary. You hear about all those scammers and people that are not so nice and all that. But there are some cues to whether this person is a person you want to talk to a little bit more. I can give you an example of one.
Please, please.
I was online and this guy had a great profile, seemed like we would be compatible. And so, first you send a little wave or a smile, and they waved back. And, then we started doing the little messaging back and forth. And then we moved to talking on the phone, which one of the safety tips is to have one of those throwaway phones. So you're not giving away your real number up front. So I had the little throwaway phone thing, and we're talking on the phone. Sounded really nice, had great conversations. We actually met. I met, they were in Austin, and I live in the San Antonio area. So we met halfway and had a great time over lunch and had another date over lunch. And then we were talking on the phone a little more frequently. And next thing I know, he's talking about, well, I can move to San Antonio and move in with you and live with you. And I was like, uh, you have your own house in Austin, right? Well, come to find out, it was his daughter's house. And because you can do a property check, uh, you know, the county property records, and it was not in his name. He did give me his address, which was good, but then I did a little background check, and there are a few things that came back that weren't so good, and so I just kind of said thank you, but no thank you. And but anybody that says they want to start doing things, like some of my clients have said, well, yeah, I talked to somebody, and by the third time we talked, they said they loved me, and I'm like, oh no, X X X. So
Thank you. So this is wow. Wow. I want to enroll my kids. They're only 26, but I think they need to take your class, Charlene,
that
because
would
some
be
of the
great.
stuff, it feels like common sense and it's not. It's
It's
not
not.
common knowledge. No one, even when I was younger, I wasn't taught this.
Well,
I
we didn't
went
have online dating 35 years ago like
no, we
we do
didn't.
now.
Well, I still met duds. Sorry. It doesn't, it doesn't require.
In person.
Yeah, Charlene, because I had a boyfriend that broke up with me and still had people keeping tabs on me, even though he went off to med school, honey. And then, it was, he came back and said he wishes he had not taken me for granted like his big screen TV. He's a doctor now.
Wow.
You
That's a
know who
little
you are
scary, actually.
if you see my podcast. You know who you are. Right? I love this. So please disregard for me. I know you want to focus on your avatar of seniors. I think this is just anyone seeking your soulmate. This
Yes.
conversation with you, Charlene, is just opening up my eyes to the fact that all of us need a little reminder. Sometimes, yes, soulmates are more than romance mates, right?
Right.
Companionship is important.
Yes. You're right. And that's the thing with the seniors. Younger people, um, well, nowadays with the computer stuff and all of that, they're not as social. So they can benefit from learning how to be a little more social and how the dating process goes.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found with seniors, and probably happens in younger groups too, but with seniors, they've been in long term relationships 20, 30, 40 years. That's all they've done is had the monogamous relationship, then they get out there dating and someone pays attention to them and they start thinking they're in a relationship when they're actually still dating. And when you start being in relationship, that can create conflicts. I had a client that her husband had died. She waited about 2 years before she started dating, and she got out there and met a guy, and he was very nice. They got along, they talked a lot, they actually met, got along really well. And then he said something about he was going to go out with someone, and she was like, can you believe he's going to go out with somebody else? And I was like, well, did you have a conversation about being exclusive? Are you committed or are you dating? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, you're in the dating phase. That's exploration. If you haven't had that commitment conversation, you're dating. That's not a relationship. So you can't get mad because he's going out with somebody else. I go, if you really like him, then y'all need to have that conversation. But don't be mad because you're dating. That's exploration. That's different from relationship. When you get to relationship, there's a certain amount of exclusivity. And, you know, these days there's all kinds of relationships, polygamy, what they call it, polyamorous relationships and all of that. But it's about communication and what is this relationship going to look like? Because even in polyamorous, you have some exclusiveness, maybe to more than one person, but that's it, you know? So, yeah. So having that conversation. So that's one of the things with younger folks. I worked with the military for a very long time. And we found that some of the younger soldiers didn't know how to date. And so a lot of things were happening as a result of that. And so I think we all can benefit from learning how to date and explore and see if we want to go into relationship or companionship. You know, maybe it's a really good friend, but you decide there's not a romantic connection. But if there's a romantic connection and there's commitment, then you're in a relationship and then different dynamics happen. And one of the things with seniors is that a lot of seniors don't either want to get married or they would lose benefits if they get married.
Yes, that's right.
So that's a little bit of the difference between the younger generations and the older generations.
I still think it's an absolute must to learn about it.
Yes, definitely.
Everyone should know about your course, Charlene. I think it is, right? I think it's one of those things where, you know, I taught my kids everything except finances. Because I never learned finances. And so now we're all learning about finances in my business because I was doing a lot of girl math. And a lot of my business mentors said to me, you got to look at your accounts. And I went, what do you mean I got to look at my accounts? They stress me out. And they're like, that's what business is. You have to look at your money, right? And so for our kids, in terms of they're in their mid-20s, homeschooled all their lives, in college, they want to find friends.
Yes.
I think your course would be excellent even for the safety aspect of it, because this day and age, everyone isn't super 100% honest about who they are because we're not feeling safe enough to be, right? And that's good reason. We're surviving a global pandemic. We're coming out of that. Everyone has different reasons for whatever they choose to do or not do. And so I think even just the safety aspect of it, and or writing out your profile, searching for companionship, which eventually leads to romance if that's meant to be, right?
Right.
Charlene, your course should be like Relationships 101, I think.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Yes, and it is a relationships 101. I talk about having an attitude of gratitude. I do something that's called Let's Learn to Radiate and Get That Date. Because when you're all positive inside, you wake up in the mornings and you have that attitude of gratitude, you have an upbeat attitude about life in general. We were talking earlier, sometimes I have my clients do some dancing by themselves to some really great music, because that is a way to re-energize and no one's looking. So just, you know, do whatever moves you. And that really increases your circulation. It's good exercise. It's fun. puts you in a good frame of mind. And so the dancing is part of what we do. We do journaling. We do a lot of that self-exploration. And then we go and decide, what are the desires of my heart? And
Ooh.
that's what happens with a lot of people, regardless of age, is they don't think about what is it I'm looking for. Someone pays attention to them and they start making excuses and concessions, and then they feel bad and the list for desires of your heart is not 6 foot tall, 6 pack. It's not that.
It'd be nice. At least eye candy wise. Shh. No one heard me say that.
Matter of fact, I did a little talk where I talked about the twinkly twirly 20s. They go out at 10 o'clock at night. They're all dressed up and they see this fine dude, and they're like, oh, look at that 6 pack and all of that. But when you become the sexy, sensual 60s, first of all, you're probably in bed by 10 o'clock.
Hand is raised for my podcast people. Jenny's like, that's me, 10 o'clock bedtime. Mm-hmm.
When the seniors go out, usually they're done by 9:30. But while they're out, they're like, oh, look at him. He's dressed nice. He's walking. He doesn't have a walker. He's breathing. He must be pretty healthy for his age, because health is a concern once you become a senior. Some people that are retirees joke, hey, my social life is going to see the doctor now. Yeah, you understand how that goes. But, you have different standards, different things that you want. The companionship is important. And, having someone that likes to do what you like to do. But my other point that I was going to make is that I had a client and she was like, I had this one relationship and this guy was blah, blah, blah. Then I had another relationship and this guy was blah, blah, blah. I had another relationship and he was blah, blah, blah. I go, do you hear what you're saying? You're picking the same kind of guys. So we go through that and say, okay, admit that maybe I'm not choosing well. Take responsibility for your part of that relationship and then start saying, okay, if I want someone that's financially secure, I need to be financially secure, get my act together. If I want someone that likes to go to church, I need to be going to church. Become the partner that you desire. And then when that person comes into your life, you'll know it. My soulmate came into my life. I prayed a very specific prayer. Some of the things in it were I wanted someone that would invite me to church early on after I met them and introduce me to people, because I had relationships where people would invite me to church, but they wouldn't sit with me. They wouldn't introduce me.
What?
Yeah. So, yeah, weird. But anyway.
Yeah, no,
So I was like, well, that's, part of what I want. So I wanted a Christian man that demonstrated, that goes to church on a regular basis and all of that. And someone that would bring me flowers periodically, someone that would pay to go on trips, because I've been paying for myself to go, but it would be nice, and I don't mind treating. I've treated friends and partners to dinner. And I would like for someone to do that for me. So my list was very, very specific. So I met someone online, and our second date was that he invited me to church. We went to church and he introduced me to everybody that came along. I did not tell him what my prayer was. I didn't tell him anything about my prayer. He started bringing me flowers every week, get flowers. I don't necessarily want them every week, but this is what he does. And so the traveling, we went on a trip and he bought me a first class ticket. I mean, he treats me like a princess. He treats me. And, this was a good thing. We talk about love languages in the course.
Yeah.
And my love language is quality time. And he took the little quiz and found out what his was, and found out his is affirmation, mine is quality time. And so the next day he said, hey, I got to go run some errands. You want to go with me? And I'm like, he got it. God. And again, I didn't tell him any of the things, we knew each other's love languages. And so I made sure that I told him, hey, you did a great job with that. I really like the way you do such and such, and really affirming him. And it's been great. So we explore a lot of things in the course, that self-assessment, what's your love language. I even include the little goop about your sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the names right now, but there's that. We talk about Myers-Briggs personality profile. We do a lot of things, and then we journal and guided journaling. And then after that, we start to develop that plan, get the desires of the heart. And then when they develop their plan, we talk about how it's going to be implemented. And I coach them all the way through this. And, they get the coaching, they call. And my favorite story, one of my clients went through the process and was starting to be very confident and very positive, and started what we call radiating. You have that glow. And so she's practicing the radiating. You're intentional before you go out about what you want to do. So she was very intentional, went to a drugstore, and she was 57. And this young man who was 24 asked her for her phone number. And she called me and said, hey, I got asked my phone number, but he's too young. I said, well, at least that's working. So now let's try, keep doing it, keep practicing. She did, and she went to an event, and 4 guys asked her for her phone number. And she called me and said, how do I turn this radiating off? It's working too much.
That's like the advanced level. That's the VIP level. Get through the level 1 course first. Learn to radiate, get multiple offers, and then sign up with Charlene or continue your work with her. That's what I say. How do they find you? What are the best ways to get more exposure to Charlene?
Yes. Well, this is the name of my book, Senior Seeking Soulmate. They can find it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Mm-hmm. I have a website, which is www.seniorseekingsoulmate, where they can email me. I do have a course starting on the 28th of November. Also, my Facebook is Senior Seeking Soulmate. They can DM me there. They can slide into those DMs on Facebook, and they can email me at dr.smith@Senior Seeking Soulmate. So there's a lot of ways to find me. And if they're interested in the course, they'll get a 30-minute free consult. We'll talk about what their dating experience has been and what they're looking forward to as far as getting out there again. And then the course will be 4 weeks on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on Zoom. As seniors, we learned how to do Zoom during the pandemic so we could talk to our grandbabies. So, we don't necessarily do online courses where we're not guided or anything, but on Zoom, we like to talk. And that's what the course is set up on Zoom. So it'll be a group session with individual coaching as we go through the process. And so they'll have a plan at the end of it. They'll implement it with coaching. And then if they want continued coaching, we'll talk about that too.
Beautiful. Awesome. All right, great. And we'll put those links also in the description of this episode.
Awesome.
Remember now, listen, audience, if you're feeling any hesitation, go to danceandheal.com. That's my free class for you. Get yourself in the mood, and then look right on all of Charlene's links, and make sure you get in touch with her so you can start looking for your soulmate. Also, even in just friendships, and feel safe while you're doing it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't urge you enough. And then, Charlene, these classes don't just start in November. They're in December and January and February, right? So there's no deadline for them to get in touch with you.
Oh, no. I'll have another class starting towards the end of January. And then, maybe every other month I'll be having courses. We're setting the dates now.
Perfect.
Yes.
So you can always just get on Charlene's website, too. If she has that free call, you can get in chat with her too. Make sure you book those. Charlene, thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you and really do this real talk session, because I know the world needs to hear more about this kind of talk. And
thank you, Jenny.
Yes, thank you, Charlene. All right, folks, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?